Hello, my name is Michael Kahn, Kahn. I'm the author of 3 books exposing the money machine, which is subtitled Tyranny Through Government, Religious Institutions, and Media Deception. I'm also the author of The Untold Nature of Christianity and Angry, Loud, and Clear Truth. My website is truthforceinternational.org. I'm a author, I'm a revolutionary, and an activist. I have volunteered 45,000 hours, founded 3 organizations, nonprofits. I've lectured to graduate students for 15 years, and now I'm out there to tell the truth. First of all, we have here what is highly disturbing is in Georgia today, 1,000 National Guard troops were sent to Atlanta in Georgia to quell riots. Riots were basically 5 people were killed, including an 8-year-old child. Now they're calling in the troops. Now, first of all, we are in danger of civil war. Blacks are rioting over the death of Floyd. Blacks are rioting over decades and centuries of oppression and destruction. The police murdering blacks happens on the regular. It is highly justified. However, it is being executed wrongly. I believe in revolution. I'm a revolutionary. This is not the right way. It's the blacks against everybody else. They cannot win, and you'll find out what's really going on. It is not the blacks that started. It is not their fault. But however, if you want revolution, you don't do it by having the minority, unequipped, unorganized, try to take down the huge beast. It will not work. And you've been manipulated further, and I'll tell why. Fox News has been, and as other real conservative outlets have been showing how primitive and how aggressive, how immature, how wild blacks are according to them. They're saying blacks are ruled by their emotions, that they're aggressive, that they're primitive, that they're uncivilized. There's a reason people are acting this way, and I'll tell you the conservative sites are propaganda. They're saying that the left is run by the conservative, that the left-wing media is preaching lies. All the media is lies. The CIA has infiltrated our media. They run it. All over the world, they run the media. The CIA, using psychological tactics and psychological warfare like psyops, propaganda, have been destroying humanity. Whoever controls the media controls the mind. This is mass mind control. I'm not saying, psychokinetic energies. No. They are influencing you through the information they feed and the way they feed it. They feed extra information that isn't true, and they also omit a lot of information. All our news that comes into us is owned by 6 conglomerates all over the nation. Own all the news, all the radio, all the television, all the newspapers, and they're run by globalists, and the CIA is infiltrated and tells them to report what they will. Reporters work with the CIA. They go hand in hand. And this is all in Angry, Loud, and Clear Truth I got from unreliable sources, a book that's not my sources were not unreliable, but a book called Unreliable Sources. Jim Keith writes of it. And in Rolling Stone magazine and the New York Times in 1977 showed at its beginnings. It started in the 1950s that the CIA started investigating methods to control the masses, and they sure do it now. Trump talks about fake news. The media is slanted and has put us into boxes of thinking conservative, radical, liberal, Democrat, Republican. These are all confused and notice that Google, when you go on the internet, the algorithms of Google, they give you videos that speak on what you've seen before. They keep you in the same viewpoint. They want you to think only in one way, not to understand all ideas, not to see they are conflicting reports, that they are giving you different facts, that there are alternative facts, that they don't want to show you that what you've been shown and what you've seen is not the only information out there, the only so-called truth. You've been lied to. Now, if you go to killedbypolice.net, you'll see that 900 to 1,000 people are murdered by the police every year, not 1 or 2 or 3. They show the names, the dates, the age, and the location of each murdered person. There's not a few blacks and lots more whites. There's many more than it's been reported. And blacks are oppressed. They're in ghettos because if they're stupid and can't think, or because passed on, you say that there's no such thing as white privilege. Think about Trump. His father gave him $500 million, $500 million, passed it on. He got rich for a reason. It wasn't any genius. It wasn't any, he's a schemer, and basically, don't you think that Trump with his $500 million had it easier than you did maybe to get rich and to get out of it? Now think about this. Those people in the ghetto, maybe they have a harder time than you in your middle class suburb to get ahead. There is white privilege. You don't feel it, so you don't feel privilege, so you think there was no such thing. And you're gonna blame the blacks. I guess the blacks are to blame for slavery and for Jim Crow and for being in the ghettos. It's their fault, right? It couldn't be the white supremacists' fault. It couldn't be the fault of the colonizing of England, Spain, and France from the Roman Empire, who basically discovered Columbus here, discovered North America, South America, Africa, India, China, and what they do: genocide, slavery, oppressive rule. In China, they introduced opium to destroy the people, make them easy to conquer. And then what they do? They enslaved them or exploited them. They imposed their languages on them and taught them Christianity, which is basically, as I prove in The Untold Nature of Christianity, it's a method of imposing a slave and submissive mentality on the people to make them easy to rule over. This is what we have been fed by the white supremacists and the Vatican. The Roman Empire, the Vatican, it was Catholicism. Look at the back of your $1 bill. You see a pyramid. Egypt. The Egypt god Horus is the same one as Jehovah, Jesus, Allah, same God. And above this pyramid is an eye of Horus, a falcon, the falcon eye of Horus, and it's also a symbol for Satan. An eye is a symbol for Satan, an all-seeing eye. We're one nation under God. And then underneath the pyramid, this is still the United States, made in 1871. But under the pyramid, under the eye, is the words Novus Ordo Seclorum. That is Latin, the language of the Roman Catholic Church, and it means New World Order. And across that is an eagle, previously called a phoenix, same being, slightly different image, slightly different name. It was a symbol for Egypt, for the Greeks, for the Romans, for the Nazis, for the Rothschilds, richest people in the world, and for America. And by the way, the Rothschilds is almost exactly the same with the arrows and the feather, the olive, same thing. The Rothschilds own this planet. They own the federal bank of every nation, except for Iran at this point. They may have taken over Iran also. They create the currencies. They print up the currencies of every nation and sell it at face value. In other words, every bit of money that we've earned, everybody on the planet has earned, profits Rothschild entirely. Think about that, his power and wealth. The Queen of England's family, the Mogovian family, they own over 1/5 real estate on the entire planet. They make $360 million a day in interest. The newspapers will tell you that Bezos, with his $100-some billion, is the richest man in the world. Bull. The Rockefellers own Standard Oil, which Standard Oil is at the top of all conglomerates that all feed into Standard Oil. He basically owns America. A little richer than Bezos. Now, let's get back to Black Lives Matter. What's going on here? Black Lives Matter was basically funded by George Soros to the tune of $650,000. He's a globalist. He seems to donate to nice causes, liberal causes. There's an agenda there. He bankrupted Greece. He brought it to its knees, and he just left. He cannot go back. He'll be killed. He'll be lynched if he goes back. They hate him for good reason. And he gives to so-called good causes. There's ulterior motives there. Now, Fox, they're run by Murdoch, Naida Malta, works for the Vatican. And basically, they've been teaching lies. Fox, all the media does. Of course, CNN, NBC also. They all teach lies. They put ideas in your head to fit into different boxes. So we haggle back against one another rather than against the rulers who are really deserve to be haggled against. They deserve a revolution, but basically have us fighting one another instead. Now, let's look at the agenda here. Chauvin kills Floyd in front of the camera, looking defiantly at it. He knows, and by the way, they were friends working together in a bar, in a strip bar. They knew each other. But Chauvin kills Floyd. He makes it clear, and he's saying defiantly, look, I'm killing him, and I know I'm not going to get punished. I can do this. I'm doing it intentionally, deliberately, right in front of you. There's something sick about this, but there's also something suspicious about this, don't you think? Now, Black Lives Matter started protests in Minneapolis, and they turned into riots. But who started riots? Like a few older white men from outside Minneapolis who were not part of Black Lives Matter. And there just happened to be some bricks, a whole pile of bricks stacked nicely and ready for use. Just happened. Now, there has been found a document which is associated with Soros, has Soros' signature on it. And basically says, keep secret, do this instructions on how to behave, basically regarding the rioting, starting riots, inciting riot. Now, why would they do this? Why would he incite riot? What does George Soros have to do with this? Let's go into this. Executive orders 10,995 to 11,050 were written by presidents since Nixon going up through Obama, which relate to martial law, which will be called on the whole nation, not just a city, not just a county, not just a state, will be called on the whole nation for a minimum of 6 months. That is what the executive orders state from the presidents. There'll be the FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, will run it. And FEMA, 6% of their funding goes for emergencies like floods and natural disasters. The rest is getting ready for this. And it basically will control all transportation, all communication, all energy, and all commerce. You'll not be able to drive anything, buy anything, take a bus, use your gas and oil or electric. You will not be able to make a telephone call, internet, unless the government sanctions it. They'll cut it all off and make it illegal unless they say it's okay. Understand. Now, why do they want to do that? Why would that be made laws? Let's put more into the mix. 9/11 was a demolition job. I prove in angry, loud, and clear truth that 9/11 was a demolition job, that every politician in D.C. was complicit. Jane's Defense newsletter showed early in 2001, months before September, that we were going to attack Afghanistan. France, India, and England, BBC, also had that same information. Months before September. Well, we didn't know that. We went to Afghanistan because of 9/11, we were told. And they found it was obviously a demolition job. Perfect professional demolition job. And Building 7, I mean, you know that Building 7 also went down. There are 3 buildings went down. We don't know about Building 7. They don't tell you about that. It was only 47 stories high and wider. It also went down that day, and there's no good explanation for it. Explosion, fire. It was detonation, demolition job, same thing. Now, let's put it all together. Homeland Security was the real reason they did this. They wanted to install Homeland Security, which will be surveillance the whole planet. They watch over every phone call, every internet search done on the planet through Homeland Security. Surveillance. Now, if you look into United Nations, Agenda 2030, it's basically a plan for humanity, new civilization, a world fascist police state, though they won't tell you that. But that's what it is. That's why we have Homeland Security. That is why we brought down and killed 3,000 of our own people, so that we could attack the Arabs and commit genocide and put in Homeland Security and the Patriot Act, which basically takes away your constitutional rights. And in my book, Angry, Loud, and Clear and Truth, I prove it is unconstitutional and illegal, that Patriot Act. Now, I can go into all this. You need to buy the book. You can get it for a lousy $3. If that's too much, email me. I send it to you for free. I'm not out to take your money. I'm out to inform you. Now let's put these together. Surveillance. Let's put it together a little further. The Georgia Stones. You can look up the Georgia Stones. Georgia, like the state Georgia Stones. They basically say that something about a 500 million world population goal. And I believe that. The rest of this stuff, you can, communal with nature, garbage. But the truth is 500 million. That is their goal for 2025. Now they say 2030. A world population of 500 million. I've seen a CIA-related website stating that within a few years, the United States population will be 100 million. Currently, it's about 350 million. So you see what's going on here. Our world population is now 7.5 billion people or so, billion with a B. They want to reduce it to 500 million. 14 out of 15 people dead. And they started with the Arabs, genocide of Arabs. We basically annihilated Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. ISIS, this is another story. ISIS is a U.S. and Israeli operative. Its leader, al-Baghdadi, his real name, he's a Mossad agent, real name is Sam Elliott. And basically, ISIS never attacked Sunni nations, certainly never attacked Israel or United States. Very fishy, no? They attacked Shiite nations. That's it, they attacked Shiite nations. And they would hide in among the Arab civilians. And then the Allies would bomb the heck out of them. You know, they'd fire upon the Allies from within Arab civilians. And then we bomb the hell out of them and killing off the civilians and so-called ISIS. ISIS recruited Europeans, people all over, Sunnis, Europeans, all kinds of people. ISIS is an Israeli operative and U.S. operative, enabling us to commit genocide of Arab peoples. I've seen a picture of Damascus. It is gone. Nothing but rubble. The whole city is rubble. No survivors. No buildings left intact. They don't show you all this. Our soldiers use depleted uranium in our weapons because it has armor-piercing abilities. After returning home, not in the Middle East, but after returning home, 10,000 of our veterans died after returning home due to depleted uranium. And think what it did to those Arab nations. It's highly radioactive, and it lasts billions and billions of years. Our military and our leaders have set loose destruction. Now, why did we attack the Arabs? Why did we go there? It could be, and this I'm pretty damn sure of, it could be that the most powerful people, most rebellious people, the strongest people, the Arabs, who never fell for the American dream or Christianity, which teaches submissive and slave mentality, they basically were the first to be destroyed, so they could take away the heaviest, best line of defense, make the rest more vulnerable to destruction. Then after them will be the blacks, the protesters, rebellious people, revolutionaries like me, and the blacks, then the Latinos down the line. Now, we have 1,000 internment camps in this country. And around these internment camps, around the fences, many of them have these big bins piled to the top of the fences surrounding these internment camps. Each bin could hold half a dozen dead bodies. Now, do you see where I'm going? Now, do you see what's happening here? Now, let that sink in. Furthermore, what better excuse for martial law than civil war type riots? Blacks against whites, whites against blacks. So blacks are basically, Floyd is out there, Chauvin is out there killing Floyd, starting blacks riots, and then, then globalists hired people starting riots going on. And the conservative media telling the white people, the conservatives, how stupid, evil, and base the blacks are, how no blacks get killed, how they are not, there's no bigotry going on. There's systemic racism in the justice system. Every race does about an equal percentage of people doing drugs. 3 times as many blacks are arrested for drugs as whites, and 10 times as many go to prison for it as whites. There is systemic racism. There's racial profiling. There's no question about it. Now, blacks are killed more, at a great percentage rate than whites, unarmed. I've seen blacks killed, being held down by cops, not resisting, being killed. Seen down eating dinner with his back turned to cops, sitting down, being shot and killed. I've seen people running away, shot and killed. No weapon, shot and killed. A child with a toy gun, shot and killed. Cops have no problem killing anybody. It doesn't disturb them. They don't go to the funeral of the person they've killed. They don't quit the job in remorse. They cry how hard it is on them. And they walk tall. They walk the streets with bulletproof vests, guns, sticks, the world's most oppressive, powerful law behind them, and say they're brave and fine, call the streets a war zone, which everybody else calls a neighborhood. And yes, the media depicts the ghetto and the cities as dangerous and evil and drug infested. I live in urban Newark, New Jersey. 90% or so, I don't know exact percent. Most people are black in this town. I'm the only one in my neighborhood who's Caucasian. They ain't bad. They're decent people. What you see on television, You see every day in the news, you see a fire, you see a murder, you see crime. Yeah, there's a little of it here. That ain't what they say. These people are decent. They talk with one another. They protect one another. They're friendly. They're decent. They give each other good advice. It takes a village to raise a kid, and yes, the other families take care of people's children. Kids can walk around the streets safe because people look out for one another. It is not what they're depicted as. I could go way deep into this and show you how the media has been depicting blacks incorrectly on purpose. Now, the CIA has infiltrated the media, clearly. And I'll go into that later, another time, not today. But with the CIA infiltrated media, owned by 6 conglomerates, and rich people are wicked. I can go into another time too how wicked rich people are. Now, you get the message. They're telling the white people how bad the blacks are, how riotous and evil and unfounded this all is, and how they're aggressive and they're violent people, base, primitive, uncivilized people, hurting whites and destroying their property and businesses. The whites are getting ready for revolution, to kill the blacks. Blacks are getting ready to kill everybody also. We're ready for civil war. And now they have a warning mark, calling in 1,000 guards in Georgia. People, we need to stop these riots right now. We need to withdraw, go back to your houses, and make friends. I'm not saying the police are right on this. I'm not saying they're innocent. I'm not saying the blacks are without a proper agenda. I'm just saying, go home. We need to organize, gather forces, and strategize. We need to inform the military of the truth so that they will certainly fight for what's right. Right now, the people have no chance. Police, through measures done by Obama and Trump, Obama rescinded it when some people stood up against it, but basically, urban police forces have been given tanks, heavy artillery, and grenade launchers, as well as other equipment. Some have been given choppers and all kinds of heavy, armored vehicles, bomb-proof vehicles, all kinds of. There's other weapons also, tasers, all kinds of weapons, high technology weapons used on the people. We have no chance against them on the streets. They have riot gear, SWAT teams, far out weaponized, far out manned. And if the government step in, if the military is called to step in, that even makes it worse. And they know this right now. And I'm going to make that clear. The government has been watching, FBI and CIA have been watching me for a while since my books started coming out. They've been watching for how long? About 5 years, very closely. Because my books speak a lot of truth and very damaging to our government and the people above the government who run this world. I'm going to tell you right now, this is what we need to do. We need to get this information out to the military. I'm going to tell you right now my agenda. I make no bones about it. My name is Michael Kahn, and the FBI know where I am. I will say this knowing I could go to jail for many years, but right now we need to hear it. We need our military to understand the truth. Get this out to our military brothers and sisters, because the military taking out those criminals in D.C. is the most peaceful and best option this country has, the whole world has, because America will destroy the planet. We dropped those bombs on Nagasaki, Hiroshima, and all that. No remorse over that. Killed them all. One bomb would have done it, but we bombed like 3 cities. And you saw what happened. Yeah, we won the war. They surrendered. We didn't warn them. We were told they weren't. No, this is baloney. We are ready. Trump raised our nuclear arsenal by $1 trillion. Now, why would he do that? And Bush took us out of the International Criminal Court. All these nuclear weapons arms treaties, Bush took us out of them. Things that Clinton and others had signed and had created treaties. Bush took us out. There's a reason for it. People understand. They want us to riot so they can call martial law. So they can herd us into the FEMA camps. And so they can watch over the world and create a 500 million world population. Now, we've been lied to in the media and everywhere. The government leaders, politicians can't seem to solve any world problems. They don't know there's global warming. They don't get it. They can't believe it. They can't withdraw troops from foreign lands. It's impossible. They can't create more jobs. They can't give us health care that's appropriate. They have to force vaccinations. They can't sue or press charges against the pharmaceutical leaders, CEOs who promote these bad vaccines and bad medicines intentionally. They can't do anything else. They can't do better. They can't put in good legislation. It's impossible. The other side's always against it, or they just can't think they can't come to an agreement. Is it really that difficult? They sure put in Homeland Security real quick. It took a matter of weeks, and Patriot Act took a matter of weeks after 9/11. Matter of fact, the original papers for Patriot Act and Homeland Security were written overnight, thousands of pages written overnight when Twin Towers came down. How did that happen? And they passed it in a couple of weeks. They could do that. Yeah. My book shows the truth. Angry, loud, and clear truth shows exactly, proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that 9/11 was a demolition job with every politician in D.C. complicit. It shows evidence of where we're going. Well, the history from the Roman Empire through now. This country is run by the Vatican. With that dollar bill saying it all. With the pyramid, the eye of Horus above it. Also the eye of Satan, which everyone, same being, same entity. Jehovah, Jesus, Allah, same God. Satan, Horus. Over the Egypt, the pyramid. And underneath that, Novus Ordo Seclorum. Latin language of the Roman Catholic Church. The Vatican rules, and the globalists in the Trilateral Commission and Council on Foreign Relations rule this world, in this country especially. Rockefeller, David Rockefeller, founded those two organizations, the Trilateral Commission and the Council on Foreign Relations, and appointed every member. And Rockefeller is the top conglomerate of all conglomerates, of all the companies here in America. He runs it, and he basically tells them what to do. And in that Council on Foreign Relations, there's 300 people total. 100 of them are from the media. They are told what to report, what to say. There's also energy, Exxon, Shell. There's government leaders, military leaders, educational leaders, the colleges and universities, Harvard, the Ivy League, and they all are told the agenda and how to carry out their orders. And our politicians are actors. They are not legislators. They don't know what they're doing. They just are told by the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, what to do, and they do it. And they are paid well. And what do we see? All this debating, mudslinging, solutions and speeches. It's all an act. Like Frank Zappa said, politics is the entertainment division of the government. Notice that we had a choice between two skull and bonesmen. Then we had a choice between Romney Care, Hillary Care, and Obamacare, all the same. Then Trump lost to Hillary by 3 million votes. And who voted him? How did he get in? The Electoral College. The swamp voted him in, knowing that he said he would take him out. How many swamp have he gotten rid of? Only those who opposed him. He didn't get rid of any swamp members. Why not? He is a swamp member. He's a swamp member. He's a liar. He's against the deep state, he said. Then he put in former CIA Director Michael Pompeo as Secretary of State, highly important position, because he's out after the deep state. He wants to take him down. What, are you crazy? He's a liar. He's a blatant out-and-out liar. You can't see that. What millionaire is for the working people? They pay working people minimum wage. Do you think they really have your welfare in mind? Are you crazy? He gave, when COVID happened, what did he do? He gave us $1,200 each, a few $1 billion, about whatever it was, $100 billion at the most. But he gave the investors over $6 trillion to put in their personal savings account, which not to help the economy. Bezos put $24 billion more into his savings account from Trump, a nice little present, and many others got much more. The real, billionaires, Rothschild, Rockefeller, Mogovian family. Understand those are real wealthy people, not Bezos. These people have money for centuries, for decades and decades. They're bankers. They've been exploiting people, making money, and they've been doing it for a long time. They've been screwing us and lying to us, and we just take it lying down. Now, Black Lives Matter, good and courageous for rioting and doing that. And it was good as, I forget what state it was in, but a whole bunch of rednecks came to their automatics and went to the state house demanding that we let out of our house out of lockdown. They are brave also, but don't fight one another. know who the real enemy is. Isn't the blacks? The conservatives have been misled. Yes, and they're told how stupid the liberals are. Liberals own the media and the universities. No, they don't. Rich people do. Liberal and conservative. You have a free market taught because they're liberals. They're communists. Come on, wake up. There are so-called liberals who run the media and the education system, but basically they're not liberals. They're globalists. They don't have left in mind. They don't have right in mind. They don't have communism in mind. Well, in a way they do. Agenda 2030 is like communism. It's like a totalitarian police state, fascist police state. That's what they have in mind, not communism. BLM is not about that. They don't like being murdered and oppressed. I don't blame them. I don't either. As a poor white American, I have also been oppressed, put in jail unjustly, but I see blacks are oppressed and exploited, and certainly racially, systemic racism is a very real reality. And it has affected them, and it has made them less privileged than whites. Face it. If Trump had it easier than you did, with his millions, perhaps your thousands, make it easier than you than the blacks do in the ghetto. You think on that a little bit. And how beatings and lynchings and told you're inferior for decades and centuries possibly have a long-term effect on you. Being in the ghetto and seeing on television everywhere all these new everybody living in nice houses, richly being pleasant lives, and you're there in the ghetto and put in jails and all the like. Perhaps you'd be a little disturbed also. Okay, enough on that. People, stop the rioting. Think a little bit, research a little bit, and understand what the real agenda is. Think carefully. Get ready for battle. Be strong. Stay angry. Don't believe the lies. Outsmart them. Instead of lying, to fight back. Cut through the bull like I do with truth and hard-hitting, powerful words of truth and knowledge. Michael Kahn, author of Exposing the Money Machine, The Untold Nature of Christianity, and Angry Loud and Clear Truth. Salam, Hotep, Shalom, peace, but anger, and get ready for battle.